Evening.
Good evening, Dr. Posey.
Yeah, it's me. Okay, we're having some tech problems already, folks. See the frown on Mr. Venus, Miss McClendon's face?
You're echoing.
Yeah, everybody's echoing.
It's echoing.
I wasn't echoing because my phone, my thing was on mute. So I'm going back on mute until we start.
We only have 2 minutes. Good evening, Mr. Long.
Good evening, everyone. How's everyone tonight?
Okay.
Good
Mr.
evening.
Long, can you up your sound a little?
Oh, yes.
Am I coming across okay?
Who's that?
It's Cynthia Moore.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, you're okay, Ms. Moore.
Cindy,
You're
we can't,
fine. I
we
just
can't
don't
see
see
you though,
you.
Miss Moore.
Here we go.
Is your video on?
Maybe.
Well, we can't see you, so.
No, my computer is doing weird things, so we'll work on it. There
Well,
you go.
Miss Moore, that's oh, there you go.
There you are. Now
All
we
right.
see you.
Okay.
Okay, all I have 6:29 and counting.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, Ms. Martin.
Good evening.
Okay. Lights, cameras, action. It is 6:30. Good evening, everyone. Board members, administration, community who have tuned in, and welcome to the Winslow Township Board of Education's regular board meeting. Today is Wednesday, January 13th, 2021. Public notice of this meeting was given to all board members and associates. And notice is dated January 11th, 2021. Adequate and electronic notice of this meeting has been provided specifying the time, place, and manner in which this meeting is being conducted. It was advertised in the Courier Post, posted in all schools, the administration office, the municipal building, the library, Bud Double Center, Edgewood Acres, Elmtown, and Winslow Township post offices, and this is our mission statement. The mission of the Winslow Township School District, a large, diverse, and growing community, is to educate all students to become independent lifelong learners, critical thinkers, and caring and confident members of their community. The district, in partnership with the community and in a climate of cooperation and mutual respect, will provide an academic environment which values excellence and diversity, encourages students to strive for personal excellence, and assist them in acquiring the knowledge, skills, and attitudes necessary to contribute positively to a rapidly changing world. Roll call, please.
Mr. Blake,
Present.
Ms. Stratton,
Here.
Ms. Martin,
Present.
Ms. McClendon,
Present.
Ms. Moore,
Present.
Mr. Shaw,
Present.
Ms. Thomas, Ms. Peterson,
Present.
and Ms. Pitts.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Thank you, Ms. Bull. Board members, can we pause for a minute and recite the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States
of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Before I go further, we read our district goals. Let me just take a minute and say happy anniversary to that red and white sorority, Delta Sigma Theta. I understand that it is your 118th anniversary, being founded on January 13, 1913, with one of your goals to promote academic excellence. And I'm very pleased and proud to say that on our board we have at least 3 members of that sensational sorority, and also we do have members of the sorority in our administration. So once again, happy anniversary, Delta Sigma Theta.
Thank you.
Moving now, Ms. Moore, would you read our 2021 district goals, please?
Number 1, student achievement. Continue to implement best practices for delivering instruction to students utilizing all available and appropriate instructional modes. This shall include A, ensuring articulation at all grade levels throughout the district. B, focus on classroom instruction at all grade levels. C, ensuring all students have equal access to equipment and resources needed to facilitate and promote student learning in any setting. D, evaluation and updating all district programs. E, accountability of all district staff. 2, continue to foster a positive school environment that is conducive to teaching and learning. A, focus on building relationships. B, promote creative instruction, training and retraining. C, emphasis on collaboration with all district stakeholders. D, promote cultural competence throughout district. E, teacher-to-student relationships. F, student-to-student relationships. 3, market our strengths and achievements to all stakeholders to increase capacity for greater parent, caregiver, community support. A, continue with our public relations / marketing plan. B, continue to work with the various advisory committees in the district. And C, examine communication methods utilized by district.
Thank you, Ms. Moore.
Welcome.
Moving now to awards and presentations. Dr. Poteet, would there be any awards or presentations this evening?
No, Madam President, there are no awards or presentations for this evening.
Thank you, Dr. Poteet. Moving now to correspondence. But excuse me, Dr. Poteet.
Yes.
Before I go into that, I'm getting an echo. I don't know if others are getting an echo, but I'm getting an echo. Okay.
If you ask everyone to mute their mics, that should take care of most of it.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Poteet. Moving now to correspondence. Would there be any correspondence at this time?
None at this time, Madam President.
Thank you, Ms. Bull. At this time, I'm asking for a motion to approve the minutes of our Board of Education, our regular meeting, which was held on December 22nd, 2020, open session.
McClendon moved that we accept the minutes from the December 22nd regular meeting with any necessary corrections.
Thomas, second.
It's been moved by Ms. McClendon and second by Ms. Thomas. Further comments or questions? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Blake,
Yes.
Ms. Dredden,
Yes.
Ms. Martin,
Yes.
Ms. McClendon,
Yes.
Ms. Moore,
Abstain.
Mr. Shaw,
Yes.
Ms. Thomas,
Yes.
Ms. Peterson,
Yes.
and Ms. Pitts.
Yes,
Motion has carried.
thank you. Before I move to our committee reports, I'm going to ask Ms. Thomas and Ms. Moore to mark your calendars for next Wednesday, January 20th at 6:30, because if you will recall, at the meeting last week of our reorganization meeting, I indicated that there would be a brief orientation for new board members. You do recall that, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and so again, that will be held on Wednesday, January 20th at 6:30 via WebEx. Okay? Thank you. At this time, I'm asking everyone to mute because I'm getting an echo again. Okay, thank you. Board committee reports. I know at reorganization, board committees and their chairs were just assigned, so I understand if you may or may not, but I'll just go down our list. Is there a committee report from the athletics committee?
Not at this time, Madam President, but we will have a meeting next Thursday at 5 p.m. Via, I guess, WebEx. But I do want to report out that I found, I believe it was in NewJersey.com. I was reading the top 50 college recruits from the state. I didn't get to the top 10 because they come out daily, and I must have missed it. I do have to go back for it. But number 30 was our own Jalen Cheek. He will be going to Boston College, and I'll read the little excerpt they had for him. Cheek has the size and athletic potential to make an impact at Boston College. He had 23 tackles, 18 solo, 2 pass breakups, and a fumble recovery for the much improved Eagles, which were 6-1 in 2020. He projects to be a safety, but could move closer to the ball and play linebacker if he continues to grow. Cheek will join fellow South Jersey standouts as Adrian Coleman, a running back from Lenape, and Donovan, I'm not going to try to pronounce his last name, but he's a defensive end from Williamstown and Chestnut Hill this year. So that's the little excerpt for our Jalen Cheek that was put in, I believe, in Jersey.com, the top 50 college recruits for this year.
Okay, that's good news. Thank you, Mr. Shaw. Will there be a report out of our education committee?
Madam President, the Education Committee will meet on the third Tuesday of each month at 3 p.m. via WebEx. And I just wanted to inform so we keep the data straight on our Chromebooks and connectivity. We have 166 Chromebooks that will return damaged. And just a reminder that parents are responsible for ensuring the safekeeping of the Chromebooks. So parents will be asked to pay for those books that were damaged. And that's 126 Chromebooks.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Peterson. Moving now to the Equity Equality Committee, would there be a report?
No report, but I will meet with them to find a date that works for everyone. So right now we do not have a date currently, but we will for the next meeting.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Mr. Blake. Moving now to the Marketing Committee.
No report at this time, Madam President, but I am looking at scheduling a meeting possibly for the 25th of January, and hopefully doing it every fourth Monday of the month. But as far as time is to be determined, I just want to check with the members of the committee to make sure everybody's going to be available at that time.
Thank you, Ms. McClendon. Moving now, Negotiations Committee. I won't ask Mr. Long because we will be discussing that in our executive session this evening.
Correct. Thank you.
Operations Committee report at all?
No report at this time, Madam President, but we will be having a meeting this month, probably before the next board meeting.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Eden. Our policy committee members are usually scheduled for the fourth Thursday in the month, and the fourth Thursday of the month for this month will be January 29th. That is not confirmed. I will speak with Dr. Como to confirm that. But just so that you will know, we usually meet again at the fourth Thursday in the month at 4 p.m. Citizens Advisory Committee.
Good evening, everyone. I'd just like to take the opportunity to thank all of those who sent back their flyers and information.
We will be having a meeting on Friday, January 22nd at 6:30 on WebEx. And that information will be sent out as well. Thank you.
Ms. Martin, is that the meet and greet for all who completed the application?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms.
Board
Martin,
members,
could you
that's-
repeat? I'm sorry, Madam President. Ms. Martin, can you repeat that information, the date and the time?
It's January 22nd at 6:30 via WebEx.
Thank you.
Ms.
You're
McClendon,
welcome.
that information will be placed on our website, on our Facebook. Okay?
Yes.
All right. Moving now, board members, at this time, I'm asking for a motion to approve the superintendent's report that begins on page 2 and is completed on bottom of page 3. Is there a motion?
McClendon moved that we accept the superintendent's report.
Thomas, second.
Been moved by Ms. McClendon, second by Ms. Thomas. Further questions or comments? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Blake,
Yes.
Ms. Dredden,
Yes.
Ms. Martin,
Yes.
Ms. McClendon,
Yes.
Ms. Moore,
Yes.
Mr. Shaw,
Yes.
Ms. Thomas,
Yes.
Ms. Peterson, Ms. Peterson,
Yes.
thank you. Ms. Pitts,
Yes.
motion has carried.
Thank you. Moving board members, I'm at the top of page 4. I am asking for a motion to approve the business administrator, board secretary's report that begins at the top of page 4 and continues through to the bottom of page 7. Is there a motion?
McClendon moved that we accept the board secretary's report.
Thomas, second.
Moved by Ms. McClendon, second by Ms. Thomas. Further comments or questions? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Blake,
Yes.
Ms. Dredden,
Yes.
Ms. Martin,
Yes.
Ms. McClendon,
Yes.
Ms. Moore,
Yes.
Mr. Shaw,
Yes.
Ms. Thomas,
Yes.
Ms. Peterson,
Yes.
and Ms. Pitts.
Yes.
Motion is carried.
Thank you, Ms. Bull. Moving now, I'm at the top of page 8. I'm asking for a motion to approve the personnel report that begins at the top of page 8 and concludes at the bottom of page 9. Is there a motion?
McClendon moved that we accept the personnel report.
Thomas, second.
Moved by Ms. McClendon, second by Ms. Thomas. Would there
Madam
be further
President.
comments?
Yes, Madam President.
Yes,
I-
yes,
I
Ms.
just-
Peterson.
I just want some clarification. I think I know what it's for. Item 3, which is on page 8, and item, which is A and B, and item 4. Those that are getting stipends for their 6-period assignment, I'm assuming it's to, they're foregoing their lunch or and then
Go ahead,
Assuming-
Mrs. Peterson. I'm sorry.
okay.
Go ahead. You can finish. I'm sorry. Why don't you go ahead and finish?
Okay. I'm assuming item 3 and 4 that these teachers have agreed to give up their lunch or prep in lieu of the shortage of teachers that if someone's out sick. Am I assuming that correct?
Yes, you are, Mrs. Peterson. Yes, you are. You're exactly right. Substitute teachers and trying to fill vacancies has become very difficult. So we use our existing staff to cover those classes.
So I want to commend those staff for giving up their prep or lunch, even though they're getting a stipend. They didn't have to do it. That shows a level of commitment to Winslow.
Thank you, Ms. Peterson. I agree. That really is going over and above, beyond the call of duty. Thank you for recognizing that. Again, it has been moved by Ms. McClendon, second by Ms. Thomas. And if there's no further questions, roll call, please.
Mr. Blake,
Yes.
Ms. Dredden,
Yes.
Ms. Martin,
Yes.
Ms. McClendon,
Yes.
Ms. Moore,
Yes.
Mr. Shaw,
Yes.
Ms. Thomas,
Yes.
Ms. Peterson,
Yes.
and Ms. Pitts.
Yes.
Motion has carried.
Thank you, Ms. Bull. Board members, before we move now to our addendum. Ms. Bull, is there a problem with the technology there that we keep occasionally hearing echoes? Is there a problem at all?
I'll take a look at the tech who's sitting next to me.
Everybody just needs to make sure their microphone is muted when they're not talking.
He is saying that everybody needs to mute their microphone if they're not speaking.
Okay. Board
Okay.
members, we heard our tech person. So we will act accordingly. Board members, I'm on the addendum. I believe we all did receive the addendum today. So therefore, I'm asking for a motion to approve the first item on the addendum, which is the superintendent's report. And it is item number 1. Is there a motion?
McClendon moved that we accept the superintendent's report on the addendum.
Thomas second.
It has been moved by Ms. McClendon and second by Ms. Thomas. Any further comments or questions? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Blake,
Yes.
Ms. Dredden,
Yes.
Ms. Martin,
Yes.
Ms. McClendon,
Yes.
Ms. Moore,
Yes.
Mr. Shaw,
Yes.
Ms. Thomas,
Yes.
Ms. Peterson,
Yes.
and Ms. Pitts.
Yes.
Motion has carried.
Thank you, Ms. Boyle. Moving now, board members, to the Business Administrator Secretary's report as it appears on our addendum. It begins on page 1 and continues to the bottom of page 3. Is there a motion?
McClendon moved that we accept the business administrator for secretary report.
Thomas second.
Been moved by Ms. McClendon and second by Ms. Thomas. Further comments or questions? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Blake,
Yes.
Ms. Dredden,
Yes.
Ms. Martin,
Yes.
Ms. McClendon,
Yes.
Ms. Moore,
Yes.
Mr. Shaw,
Yes.
Ms. Thomas,
Yes.
Ms. Peterson,
Yes.
and Ms. Pitts.
Yes.
Motion has carried.
Thank you. Moving now, board members. Still on the addendum, I'm asking for a motion to approve the personnel report that begins on page 4 and continues through to the middle of page 5. Is there a motion?
McClendon moved that we accept the personnel report.
Miss second.
It has been moved by Ms. McClendon, second by Ms. Thomas. Further comments or questions? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Blake,
Yes.
Ms. Dredden,
Yes.
Ms. Martin,
Yes.
Ms. McClendon,
Yes.
Ms. Moore,
Yes.
Mr. Shaw,
Yes.
Ms. Thomas,
Yes.
Ms. Peterson,
Yes.
and Ms. Pitts.
Yes.
Motion has carried.
Thank you, Ms. Boyle. Board members, we are returning to our original agenda. We're at the point of our Open Public Records Act request. Ms. Boyle?
We had none, but we're going to have a lot next time.
Okay, well, we are forewarned. Thank you, Ms. Boyd. All right, moving now, board members, to old business. Board members, would there be any old business that you would care to discuss at this time? Hearing none, moving on to new business. Board members, would there be any new business that you would care to discuss at this time?
Mrs. Pitts, Dr. Poteet, I'm the one that just logged in. I just want to, I wasn't sure whether to do under the new business, but I did provide the members of the board a copy of the letter that we received from the state, from Mrs. Spates, from the New Jersey CUSAC coordinator, sending the district a letter approving our district improvement plan for CUSAC, and also provided you a copy of those scores. Board members, did you receive and have an opportunity to review that information?
Yes, Dr. Poteet.
Okay. It is primarily the same scores that we received back in the spring. And I'll just briefly just touch on a few of them so you will know where we are. Now, as they indicated, our plan has been approved. They will have a review toward the end of this school year, as indicated in the letter. Instruction and program, you have to get 80% in every category in order for them to extend a 5-year review period. So at this point, we're still every 3 years because we have an area where we have not achieved 80 or above. Instruction and program, we have 79%. And that's primarily our test scores. We did not have a state assessment last year, so we have to wait this year, and we're still not sure whether or not they're going to move forward with the state assessment, but we'll see what happens with that. Fiscal management wasn't an issue at 95%. Governance, of course, it relates to the school board as well as the superintendent. And there were 3 areas that they asked us to address. One, which we have already addressed the very next day, and that was all the personnel recommendations must come from the superintendent, and we had to have that language. So now, of course, you see superintendent's recommendation. So we corrected that. The other situation was that the Winslow Township School Board must place in the superintendent's evaluation that the subgroups, the priority, student achievement must be a priority for all subgroups in the district. And you recall when we submitted our rebuttal, we stated that all students, but they said all students was not sufficient. We needed to spell it out. So they wanted to make sure that subgroups was a priority for student achievement. And then finally, federal grants, they indicated that we weren't spending our money fast enough. So we're going to correct that problem. And that only applies to Title 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that sort of thing. And that's pretty much it. We've already corrected most of those areas where they have asked us to improve upon. So when they come in, we're prepared to address it. And of course, move forward so that that score ultimately will go up during our next review. Any questions at this time? Thank you.
Dr. Poteet, thank you. Moving now, board members, to information.
Madam President.
Yes, Ms. Jordan?
Yes, I would like to say something. I want to report on last Thursday from 1 to 3 p.m. Myself and several other board members attended the Connecting with Community and Overview of the Community Education and Outreach Action in the School Sustainable Jersey for School program. And I'm so proud to say that Winslow Middle School was cited for their 2019 to 2020 World Food Hunger Day poster contest, as well as our middle school is a silver certified New Jersey Sustainable School, and kudos to the entire middle school team for reorganized as the top scoring middle school in the state for Sustainable Action Steps.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Jordan. And I do believe several, as you said, several board members attended that particular session. I think I recall seeing Ms. Peterson, I believe Mr. Shaw, Mr. Shaw, yes. So it was a very good thing to hear our names, our district name mentioned, and our accomplishments. So kudos to Winslow, kudos to the middle school for an outstanding work in the sustainable area. Dr. Poteet, moving now to informational items.
Yes, Madam President, I have several information items, but I'd like to begin as I normally do, giving the community an update on our positive COVID-19 cases in Camden County and in Winslow Township. The state of New Jersey, of course, is still under the high or orange category. We are and still remain in a public health emergency. Camden County, as of today, confirmed 182 positive cases, which gives Camden County a total of 32,360 cases to date. Winslow Township had 15 positive cases today, which brings Winslow Township's total to 2,382. The positivity rate in Winslow Township is 15.7. That's the same information I gave on Monday. The positivity rates do not change until every Thursday. Unfortunately, our meeting comes before that date because the positivity rate is measured every 7 days. And we'll get that update tomorrow. Again, unfortunately, in Camden County, we had 18 deaths, which gives us 833 total. And of course, unfortunately, one of those 18 was in Winslow Township, which gives us a total of 833 deaths in Winslow Township, unfortunately. The first thing I would like to do is give you an update. If you can recall, Mrs. McClendon, you had asked me for an update for the attendance at our last board meeting, and I would like to provide the board and the community with that information. If you recall, when I first presented the information, I stated that school one had 34 and 44% of those individuals were contacted. And when we say contacted, that means the parents, all of them were contacted, but we had 44% of the parents responded for us to move forward with appropriate action. School two had 26. We had 57% response. School three had 22 with a 68% response. School four had 33, 75% of the parents responded. School five had 39, 64% responded. School six, 41 with a 48% response. Middle school, 52 with a 52% response. The high school had 93, and we had a 75% response. The updated figures at this point, school one went from 44 to 58% response, which was an additional 5 more parents responded. School two went from 57 to 69% response. School three, 68 to 72. School four went from 75% to 90%. School five, 64% to 90%. School five,
Dr. Poteet, we can't hear you.
You went mute.
I'm sorry. Am I back on?
Yes.
Okay. So let me go back a couple because I'm not sure when I muted out. I think I was at school four. Okay. School four went from 75% to 90%. School five went from 64% to 76%. School six went from 48% to 58%. The middle school went from 52 to 63%. The high school went from 75 to 79%. And that is because additional parents did respond to the school, and we were able to follow up with whatever was necessary for us to correct whatever the issues may have been. First week returning to school after the winter break, our attendance officer dropped off 68 letters to homes personally. In addition to those deliveries, we also mailed letters out. Teachers would normally do emails to parents. The principals are calling. And again, we will continue to reach out to parents for those students as far as attendance issues and any other services they may need. Okay?
Dr. Poteet?
Yes.
Well, I'm glad to see those numbers are going up. That's exactly what we want to get our students in class. So with those numbers that you...
Excuse me, Ms. McClendon, again, I hear the
I hear
echo.
too. Okay, sorry about that. I was stating that glad to see those numbers are going up. That's exactly, what we want. We want our students to be in class. But a question I have for you is, with the amount of parents responding back, they responded, and now their students are in class, those students that weren't attending, with those numbers that have increased?
Yes, and a lot of times it's not, it's pretty much an attendance situation where it could have been sporadic. They could have missed 3 days here, 3 days there, which accumulates. And after you reach a certain number, 5, 10, we reach out to the parents because we don't want to get it to the point, because we have a policy in place that if you miss a certain number of classes or certain number of days, then that will directly impact whether or not you're promoted to the next grade, because you can be retained for attendance purposes. So yes, so that's what we're trying to prevent, and also to make sure that the young person is not only in school but actively involved, because attendance has a very direct correlation with our retention and or promotion. So yes, we are doing everything we can to make sure that those youngsters are in class. And at this point, it's just a matter of logging in. We've had some issues with parents about their students not logging in, and whether or not they were there, or they may put a picture up there and then disappear. They don't respond. So we're working out whatever those issues are. And at this point, I think we are moving in the right direction.
Yes, great job. Thank you.
All right. And I'd like to thank Mr. Mills, who is our attendance officer, as one of his responsibilities. He's the person, Mr. Jack Mills is the person who makes those house calls. And in addition to our attendance clerks, or those secretaries at the building level who's responsible for gathering that data, and of course the building principal. So of course it is teamwork, but Mr. Mills is that person out there knocking on doors. So I would like to thank those individuals for their collective effort in addressing that need. Also at this time,
Dr. Poteet,
yes, I'm sorry.
Since you mentioned CUSAC, part of the review for CUSAC incorporates an instruction and program attendance. So with all that documentation, we're going to need that for our review. Am I correct?
Can't hear you, Dr. Poteet.
I'm trying to make sure I'm muted in most cases so you don't get any feedback. So I have to remind myself to log back in when I have to respond. But anyway, anything that affects the academic achievement of the students, and of course, attendance can be directly related to that. But they don't necessarily come in and ask us for attendance records. But we know as educators that if you're not in school, you can't learn. And if you're missing a lot of days, you're going to fall behind. And then ultimately you will fail. We collect that data for our own purposes. They won't necessarily ask for it. But we do know, as all of you know, that there's a strong correlation between attendance and achievement.
But they want to know.
Well, we would,
Yes,
if we have a high failure rate, then we would have to explain why.
Okay.
And if attendance is one of those issues, then yes. At this point, we do not have a large percentage of our students who fail because of attendance. And I would like to believe is because of the work that is being done now to address some of those issues. but it is something that we must stay on top of.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Last week, board members, I was asked by one of our callers to give you an update on the work that's being done in our schools. And I think some of the parents, of course, wanted to know where we are. And at this point, I'm ready to give you an update, and I will do that by school. At this time, I'll start with school number one. All the equipment has been surveyed. All the cleaning has been done. At this point, we have 2 schools that need some work done in their pneumatic systems, and that work will be completed today, this week, I'm sorry. As far as the motors, remember we had an issue with the motors being on order. Some of them are coming back. We wasn't sure the dates, whatever. So at this point, school number one, we have 1 motor that will be completed and installed by the end of January. We have 2 motors that will not be here until mid-February. And this week, they will install 2. So of the 5 motors, we believe that when school opens on February the 1st, we will have 2 classrooms that we will not be able to use because of that motor issue. At school 2, as far as the motors are concerned, at the end of January, we will have 2 installed, and there will be 4 motors that will not be installed until the mid-February. So we have 4 classrooms at school 2 that is of a concern at this point. However, there are 3 classrooms and an office that is getting some work done this week that will be completed at school 2. So the issue at school 2 would be 4 classrooms that are possibly will not be used. At school 3, there are only 2 remaining hot water valves that need to be repaired, and that will take place this week. And those are the only issues at school 3. At school 4, we have motor issues, and there will be 5 classrooms where those motors will not be in place until mid-February. School 5, we only have 1 classroom where a blower needs to be in place, and that will be done by the end of January. School 6, we have no issues at all. Everything has been completed. At the middle school, the fan situation, this week, 3 of them will be installed. 5 will be installed in mid-February. So those 5 classrooms will not be used. At the high school, our fan situation, 5 will be installed this week. 1 will be installed at the end of January, and 3 mid-February. So at this point, we have 3 classrooms at the high school that we would be concerned with. At this point, we will not be able to make a determination as to what impact that will have until we get the numbers that we need to determine class sizes, how many students will be attending, and whether or not those classrooms ultimately have to be used. However, with that being said, there is an additional layer of protection that we installed in all of our unit ventilators. This is not a part of the recommissioning. We purchased, as you can recall, the bipolar ionization systems. All of our unit ventilators have bipolar unit, and they are air purifiers. All of those air purifiers have been installed, even in the ones that are waiting for the motors. What does the air purifiers do? Within 20 minutes of those systems being turned on, the air is cleaned. So when the administrators, teachers arrive in the morning, those classrooms, the air is clean. The hall, the building is clean, the rooftops, everything is clean. And at this point, We felt, as you remember in our discussion, board members, we felt that the air purifiers were important. So at this point, the only issue we have right now is at the high school, where we have 5 rooftop units that need the ionization or the air purifiers, and that will be completed by Wednesday of next week. If I asked for the letter for recommissioning and approval for our buildings within the next week, I have been told by CM3 that our buildings will be approved. We will be approved for recommission and use of those buildings, with the exception of those rooms in each of the buildings. At this point, we are closer to opening than we've ever been before. We are going to move forward as we plan for our reopening. We are asking all, or will be asking all teachers to return to their classrooms in all buildings on the 25th of January. All full remote instruction will be done from those classrooms, from each school, putting us in a position to work out any kinks that possibly may be there, so that we can provide direct instruction, full remote instruction the week of January 25th to all of our students from this classroom. So we're in a great position at this point. I will have another weekly report on Tuesday of next week. Those things that are due to be completed this week shall be done, and we'll even be in a better place each week prior to the opening of school. We will be able, as I said, to recommission our schools, and we'll be able to open on February the 1st. Okay, so that's the update for the services that are being done in our schools. And the next thing I would like to just move into would be the parent surveys. As you all know, the parent surveys are now in place. They are to be completed by the 15th of January, which is Friday. Just need to reiterate that if you intend to send your child back in our hybrid model, it must be done by the 15th. If it isn't done by the 15th, then we are going to assume that your child will remain home for direct instruction, and you will not be able to be a part of the hybrid model until the end of the 3rd marking period. So I just want to encourage any parents, if you have not filled out the survey at this time, please do so between now and Friday. All right. The other thing, because we are moving rapidly to the opening of schools, everybody should start reviewing the reopening plan. There have been very few changes to the reopening plan. I would like for everyone to please familiarize themselves with that plan. Go back and look at areas in particular, face coverings, attendance, transportation, visitors to the buildings, our food service. The food service program in particular will change for everyone in the district. Because we now have students who will be attending schools on Monday, Tuesday, or Thursday, Friday. Wednesday is a full remote day for everyone. So all of the families who's participating in our free breakfast and lunch program will pick up their lunches on Wednesdays. Since there's no instruction, we don't have to worry about people coming into any of our schools, 3 in the high school in particular, while instruction is going on. So the time still remains the same. So on Wednesdays, between 9 a.m. and 11 a.m., at schools 3 and the high school, if you are a hybrid student, then you can pick up food for 5 days. And if you are a full remote student, you can pick up food for 7 days. That is 5 days a week plus the weekends. And at school 3, from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. at school 3 only. So we will put that information out because that food service program has changed, because now we're in session. We're going from Tuesday, Thursday to Wednesdays only. But please go back and review your reopening of school plan. Nothing has changed other than the information that I'm giving this evening. And of course, all of our students in the district will have 2 days of instruction, K to 12, even the high school at this point. So you'll either be coming in on Monday, Tuesday, or Thursday, Friday. Okay? The school hours will remain the same. So I just want to make sure that everybody understand that our school hours are the same as they were when we returned to our regular school day. At the high school, we started 7:19, ending at 1:38. Middle school, 7:58 to 2:18. Upper elementary school, 8:45 to 3 p.m. And the lower elementary schools, 9:15 to 3:30. So again, we're right back to where we were. We're going to maintain as much normalcy as we possibly can for all of our schools. And we want the parents to just be reminded of what those policies and procedures are, particularly for visitation purposes. We will be enforcing all of the safety precautions. We will be asking everyone, even at the bus stops, to make sure they have a face covering on upon boarding the bus, and the face covering must be worn at all times unless given direction by a teacher. One of the other issues that we've been discussing at various meetings is immunizations. I'm asking parents to make sure, particularly for those young people who will be returning in our hybrid model, that they make sure they have all of their shots that are required by law prior to returning to school. And last but not least, for those of you who've been following one of our favorite students, Ziara King, if you can recall, she was drafted in the National Women's Soccer League, which is a professional league. She was traded from Utah Royals, and she's now headed to Tacoma, Washington to play for the OL Reign. Her rookie season, which is just passed, Z had an exciting and special season, and we're looking forward for some great things from Z, and she's doing a fantastic job, ladies and gentlemen. So for those of you who've been following Z like myself, I just want you to know she continues to make us proud, and she keeps Winslow Township School District on the map. Lastly, of course, I needed one other thing. I need to make sure uniforms will be required on the first day of school. So we expect everyone to be in their uniforms, and we are ready to start school. So at this point, the only thing that will keep us from opening schools on February the 1st would be the public health situation that we're presently in. If those positive rates continue to rise, and we find ourselves in a situation where it's not healthy for us to return, then that would be my recommendation. But at this point, starting January 25th, we're expecting all teachers to report to their schools, their classrooms, and that first week, full remote instruction will be given from those classrooms. Wednesday will be a full remote day for everyone, as we've already stated. And February the 1st, will be the first day of school. Those who are in our hybrid model will receive their transportation information. And again, if you have not signed up for the hybrid model, you can't show up Monday because at that point, unfortunately, we will have you to either come and pick your child up, or the child will have to return home. We've given everyone more than enough time. I think we've had this conversation every meeting we've had, so that parents would know, with the additional information, using our social media outlets to make sure everyone was aware of what we're doing. But Mrs. Pitts, members of the board, we're closer to opening our schools for the first time since March than any other time since we closed. And we're moving forward. The buildings are ready, they're clean, and all the things we need to do to make sure that it is a safe environment for our staff and students is already there. And I'm certain that we will get the recommission and the approval from our contractors at the completion of the work. So we're prepared to move forward. That concludes my information items, Madam President.
Dr. Pulte, you have a question. With the
Yes.
with the high school, with the days that you were talking about, those days will be consecutive, which means like Monday and Tuesday, or would it be a Monday and Thursday, but the days we back to back?
No, it's the same throughout the district. Everybody will either go Monday, Tuesday, or Thursday, Friday.
Perfect.
Okay?
Great. Madam President, I have informational items. Madam President, I can't hear you.
I think Mrs. Pitts' mic is muted. Now
It
she's
was
on.
just muted. These things have a mind of their own. I'm sorry, Ms. McClendon. You had a question?
You had
You
an
had an
informational
informational
item?
item?
Yes.
Okay, fine.
I just want to give a shout out to the community. I know we have been talking about it being tough times right now for parents to buy uniforms. Communities have stepped up and created a virtual clothing swap, to help out those parents in need. Since we couldn't do something in person, the idea came up to do it virtually, and a lot of parents have been benefiting from it. So a lot of parents have been donating clothes that their children can't wear and then trying to swap out for other clothing. So just want to give a shout out to the community for stepping up and helping in a time of need. So I just wanted to make the board aware of that was happening as well.
Okay, thank you. That is good news. That is good news, Ms. McClendon, and it shows that Winslow truly is a community that cares. So that's good news. Board members, at this time, we're moving on to public comments. The Winslow Township Board of Education highly values the input of citizens in making important decisions that affect the children of our community. We also believe in the right of citizens to observe our board meetings. To ensure that all citizens have the opportunity to attend school board meetings and offer comment, and to ensure that the board can conduct the important business of the district, we ask that speakers follow these guidelines for making public comment. The board secretary, board president will recognize those individuals in the audience who wish to make comment. Please follow these procedures. 1, all members of the public attending school board meetings must treat each other in the board with respect. 2, please clearly state your full name and address. 3, please limit your comments to 4 minutes. 4, please submit your questions to the Board of Education with your name, address, and telephone number where you can be contacted. Your questions will be answered within a reasonable amount of time. And 5, individuals offering citizen comment are not permitted to make personal attacks on any district employee, board member, or other testifier or member of the public. At this time, board members, I'm asking for a motion to open the meeting to public comment.
McClendon moves that we open the meeting up for public comment.
Thomas, second.
Moved by Ms. McClendon, second by Ms. Thomas. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
Aye.
Ms. Boyle? Who do we have?
Yes, Madam President. You have to call. We're waiting. There was somebody, I think all right, they just called back. Good evening. You joined the public comment section of the board meeting. If you would, please give your name and address, and then you can make your public comment.
My name is Adam Sheridan. I am the chair of the Winslow Township Education Health and Safety Committee and a teacher in the district.
Mr. Sheridan, you can make your comment to the board.
Good evening. I'm a teacher in the Winslow Township School District, and I am the chair of the Winslow Township Education Association's Health and Safety Committee. This pandemic has been incredibly stressful and difficult, and I want to make sure that I express my own gratitude and that of my union brothers and sisters to Dr. Poteet and Dr. Carcamo, the members of our Board of Education, and the Winslow community at large for prioritizing safety in their decision-making throughout this pandemic. Many towns and school districts have found themselves torn apart by debate and acrimony on this issue. But Winslow has consistently shown it values the safety and health of its children and school staff. That is no small thing, and I know that I am very grateful for this fact. I want to speak for a moment tonight about the Winslow staff and vaccinations. Given the brevity of this opportunity to speak, let me get straight to the point. In short, it is my opinion as our Health and Safety Committee Chair that we should delay a return to in-person teaching and work until the staff can be vaccinated. This should include teaching staff and all support staff from guidance and CST to secretaries and drivers. I know that this will be a controversial opinion, and I know that it causes hardship. However, it is clear to me that delaying only a few weeks longer would drastically improve the safety of our schools. Just today, Governor Murphy opened up vaccinations to a wider pool of people to include those of us with pre-existing conditions. When we polled the Winslow staff, nearly 60% of respondents had conditions that qualify as a risk factor for severe COVID illness. Within the next few weeks, it is possible that large numbers of Winslow staff, potentially all of those 60% of us with high-risk conditions, might be able to receive COVID vaccination. If we delayed this return even only to March 1st, for example, it's possible that the entire staff would be vaccinated by that point. We have been teaching remotely since last March. Adding a few extra weeks to that amount will not appreciably change the educational experience of our students. While no one likes or enjoys remote learning, and while we all look forward to resuming our in-class teaching, Winslow staff members have become very skilled at remote learning and work, and it's only a few more weeks. However, those weeks will have an outsized influence on our safety. Every week that goes by, we'll see a further acceleration of our state vaccination program. Just as the virus once moved exponentially, the state expects to do the same with vaccination. There were nearly 7,000 new cases of coronavirus in New Jersey today. 20,000 New Jersey residents have now, as of today, died of this virus. The situation is dire, but it is almost over. In that sense, with community transmission of COVID-19 currently at critical levels, but also with the end of this pandemic in sight, I respectfully ask the board and our Winslow administration to consider why not wait just a little bit longer. Thank you.
I believe, Mr. Sheridan, did you hang up? I believe Mr. Sheridan disconnected the call after his statement.
That was okay, Mrs. Boyle. I'm not sure Mr. Sheridan's statement that was read required a response at this point. I think his, based on what I heard, it was he was asking us to take into consideration delaying the reopening of school. And at this point, I didn't think it required an immediate response. But we did hear what he said, and we'll take that under consideration. One of the things I will say is that, as he mentioned, the district has taken health and safety as a priority. That's why we're still out today. We have spent thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars repairing unit ventilators so that we can have that fresh air circulating in our classrooms, the purification through our purifiers. So yes, it is not any doubt that we as a district have not taken the necessary steps to make sure that our buildings are safe for our staff and students under those guidelines. So yes, we will continue to do what is necessary, but I will continue to monitor the community spread of the virus, and we will make recommendations accordingly. And at this point, board members, that would be my initial response to Mr. Sheridan's recommendation to us.
Okay. I'm getting feedback. We have a caller on the line. Good evening. You've joined the public comment section of the board meeting. If you would state your name and address, and then you can make your comment.
Tina Marshall, 9 Celia Street, Sicklerville, New Jersey.
Ms. Marshall, you can make your statement.
Yes, I just have a question. I mean, I'm listening, and I listened to the HVAC report, and I also had an opportunity to read the report. And I'm just curious on why All of this time has gone by. The items are not repaired fully, but you're expecting the parents to make a decision that is going to reflect for the next marking period. I don't see how that's fair.
Caller, I can respond to that. The classrooms in each of the buildings that have not been repaired is not the fault of anyone's lack of trying to get things done in a timely manner. The COVID crisis has hit the distribution centers all over the country. So if parts are on delay and they can't get them in a timely manner, then there's nothing anyone can do. This is my recommendation to the board. For example, at the high school, there's a possibility we may not be able to use 3 classrooms. If that is the case, then depending on the number of students, we may not need those 3 classrooms, or we may have to make some adjustments for those teachers to be relocated. But at this point, it is my responsibility to look at that closely. And in all of the buildings, depending on the size and the number of the classrooms, that final determination will be made based on the number of students who sign up to come in through a hybrid model. But at this point, the work isn't incomplete because the company have lack in their ways of trying to get it done in a timely manner. It's just that the parts have been on delay. Some can't get them. They keep telling us they'll be in this week or next month. So at this point, they're doing the very best they can. It is at no fault of anyone that those parts have not arrived.
Right. So that's while I understand your comment, I'm aware that I was in my section of my husband actually gets everything is there for a living. I am aware of this pandemic has done one that in regards to birth. But you're not answering my question. I asked parents supposed to make a decision in 2 days when the work has not been completed. You're asking us to put our faith into something, but there's nothing showing that those are going to be visible. We're asking us to put our children's lives as well as every single employee. That's a lot to ask for the community to just.
Excuse me, caller.
Definitely all need.
There's a terrible echo. Excuse me, caller. Ms. Bull, can anything be done about this with the technology?
I think that the board has to mute unless you're speaking. Yeah, everybody has to be muted.
Madam President, may I say something? I think the echo is coming from Dr. Potee. I don't know if it's your volume, Dr. Potee. If you could probably adjust it, the echo probably won't come every time you put your mic on.
Mm-hmm.
So that may be it. If you bring your volume down for your speaker, it won't bounce back. And I think that's the problem that we're having. Just the volume probably is up high, so it's bouncing back the sound.
Is that better?
Yes.
Well, no, it's still there.
No, it's back.
And you say it's coming from my computer?
When your mic is on, anybody else is talking, the sound is coming through. So it might just help that when you're not talking, that if you mute while the caller's talking, then you won't hear that echo sound.
Let me respond to the caller because I want to address the fact that she said that I was putting the children's lives in jeopardy and that we're asking
That is
people
not
to
what
make.
I said. The words in my mouth. I said that it's potential. So please do not say that that's the same thing. But you're asking us to make a decision on our children.
Okay, well, ma'am, it is not my intent to put words in your mouth, nor is it my intent to put us in a position where we have to debate the issue. That's why we have given parents a choice. If you're not satisfied with what we've done to this point, then you have a choice. You can decide to stay full remote. So that would be a choice. I have provided the community with updates. We'll continue to provide the community with updates, being completely transparent as to where we are. I am certain, for example, at the high school and the middle school, with the number of classrooms that are not ready, with those classrooms being completely closed down, will not interfere with the health and safety of everyone else in the building, because those rooms will not be closed. All the other rooms will be functional and have airflow, purification, etc. So as far as I'm concerned, I am not going to put the staff or the students' safety in jeopardy. But I think what it boils down to, ladies and gentlemen, you have to make a choice. And if you feel that you're uncomfortable with where we are, then I'm going to assume that you will not be sending your children to school. For those parents who feel comfortable with where we are and what we've done, then those parents will probably decide to send their children to school in the hybrid model.
Thank you, Dr. Poteet. I'm just going to pause for a minute and ask all of we as board members, are we sure that we are all on mute? We are all on mute, so I'm going to mute too. Okay, Ms. Boyle, I'm going to mute so you can continue with the next caller, please.
Okay. Thank you, caller. Good evening. You've joined the public comment section of the board meeting. Please state your name and give us your address, and then you can make your comment.
Hi, Christina Leonard, Akron, New Jersey.
Yes, Ms.
Leonard.
Go ahead.
Dr. Poteet, this is no disrespect towards you. I think, speaking for myself, and I know a lot of other parents, it's not, at this point, not making a choice to stay home, you know, have our children full remote or sending them back to the hybrid model that we're questioning. I think it's more, we know that one of these groups of students is going to be affected poorly more than the other. So I think that's one of the issues, is why are we doing this if there's still a risk at this point?
I don't understand your question, caller. You say, why are we doing what? Because there's still risk. I'm not sure what you're asking. Caller?
I believe she hung up, Doctor.
Yeah, I'm not sure what she was asking. Was she asking why are we open the schools if there's still a risk? There's always a risk because the number of cases we have in Camden County and in Winslow Township are occurring, and you know, it's not because of the schools. Schools aren't even open. It's all about more than just the school itself. It's about what people are doing after school or during the weekends, after hours, you know, your personal social lives. So people are going to become affected or contract the virus. There is no 100% situation where no one will ever be affected. As a matter of fact, there's no situation anywhere in the world where that will be able to happen. So if we're waiting for me to be able to say that we are 100% safe to the effect or to the point where no one will contract the virus, I can't say that, no one else can. I'm just doing the things that I feel that is necessary for us to get the schools ready, as I've been directed to do. And we've done everything within our control that we can possibly do, and I can't do any more than that.
There's another caller, Doc. Good evening. Good evening, caller. You joined the public comment section of the board meeting. If you state your name and address, then you can make your comment.
Okay, hi, my name is Julianne Doherty, 5 Cornell Road, Acton, New Jersey.
Would you like to make your comment, Ms. Dougherty?
Yes, I would. So I believe that the last caller was, I actually have 2 things I'd like to comment on. I believe that the last caller was trying to say is there is still such a high risk, and what is the plan if someone is sick? Are you going to close the whole school? Are all of the parents going to be notified? Will all of the students be notified? Or is it going to kind of touch on what's going on? It's inevitable that someone is going to, and Dr. understand about not being able to control what's going on, but you're speaking as though you're aware of it almost sounds like supervising and opening process to help.
Well, caller, as far
when someone gets sick. How quickly will
okay. Well, if someone contracts the virus while in school, a letter will go out to all of the parents who have children in that school, letting them know that someone contracted the virus. We, on the other hand, will as soon as we find out that someone contracted the virus, a letter will go out to all parents, as well as a call to the Camden County Health Department. The health department will come in and they will conduct the contact tracing. It is in the hands of the health department, and then they will instruct us whether or not school can remain open or whether or not school can or should be closed. That is not a decision that is made by me as superintendent. That is a decision made by the Camden County Health Department.
Okay, I understand that part. But I understand the letters anywhere is longer to get to somebody's house. In that time period, one student infected could turn into hundreds of students and teachers being infected. So I don't think a letter will suffice. But before I get cut off or hung up on, I also just want to bring up the fact that you guys this is the 4th time now that the schedule has been changed. And this is really going to cause a lot of issues with students who are in the special education program, as they already have issues with schedule changes or changes to the routine. And they're going back 4 days a week, whereas mainstream students are only going back 1 to 2 days a week. Is there any specific reason for that, or anything that you, as superintendent, plan on doing to make the transition for special education students a little bit easier?
Yes, special education students will start off 2 days a week, just like all the students in the school district. And if we have additional space, as indicated in our plan, the special education students will be offered additional days. But we ask that once school gets started and we look at our numbers, then we will be in a position to offer the special education and our ELL students additional days. And we will contact the parents directly, those special education parents directly, to let them know how many days their child will be able to attend.
Okay, and all aides will be available.
We will place aides in those classrooms or areas where they are required. As I mentioned at our last school board meeting, that the agency that provides us with the aides has indicated that they have not been able to fill all of their vacancies. So there is a possibility that we may fall short in some areas. Right now, the school district requires 189 aides. We are able to get, according to their records, 140 or 140 plus. So we know we're at least at this point, at our last meeting, ESS, we'll be about 40 aides short based on the number of aides we need. But again, keep in mind that also depends on the number of students who return in the hybrid model.
Okay, and then parents then told that special education, we were never told.
Excuse me, Dr. Poteet.
Now.
Dr. Poteet, excuse me, caller. Dr. Poteet, can you hear me? No.
Yes, I can hear you, Ms. Boyle.
Can you hear me? Ms. Boyle, can you hear me?
Yes, madam. Yes, madam. President, I can hear you.
I really am at a loss to understand the problems that we're having because the caller, I could barely hear the caller.
Mrs. Pitts,
Yes, Mr. Long.
so this happened on this format before. Everyone needs to be muted when a caller's speaking, even the person responding to him, like Dr. Petit's muted now. I don't know, Mrs. Boyle, can you mute while the caller's on or not?
The callers are coming through, you can hear them through my device, so I cannot mute. If I mute it, you wouldn't hear the caller's questions.
Best chance we have is if everybody, including administration, mute while the caller is speaking. And then once the caller is done, the caller stops speaking, I'd wait like 3 seconds. And then Dr. Poteet would unmute and respond if that's the decision that he makes. Let's just try that, see how.
Can the caller repeat what they just said because we weren't unable to hear them?
Sure. So my question was, when was the information about the special education starting out as going to be made available to the parents? Because we've been getting information that it's 4 days a week until, a couple minutes ago when Dr. Poteet said it's 2. We haven't been given that information yet. When is that supposed to be delivered to us?
I'm not sure what information you are referring to, but the information that I just shared with you was made available back in August, and that information has been disseminated and is on our website and has been there since August, and nothing has changed. The information in reference to special education students and the availability of them attending more than 2 days based on space, and that we will be contacting parents. That information has been available and shared with parents since August of last school year. So I'm not sure exactly where the misinformation may have occurred, but we have been communicating that information, and I have been communicating that information on all of my real talks with superintendents, every board meeting. I haven't said anything tonight that has changed since August.
Okay, so a lot of the information we're getting is from the teachers directly.
Well, that is one source of information. You should be communicating with your teachers, of course, on a daily basis. I'm not sure, but if you have any questions, whatever school your child attends, I think it would be appropriate to also call the building principal, and he or she could answer any questions you may have.
I believe the caller disconnected. Yes, we have another caller on the line. Thank you, caller. You've joined the public comment section of the board meeting. If you state your name and address. Then you can make your comment to the board.
Hi, I was disconnected earlier. This is Christina Lionard from 7 Dartmouth Drive in Atco. Dr. Poteet, as the last caller, I'm calling now about that. So my son is in special education in the high school. He's a senior. We have been told since August that special education is 4 days a week. You've said that during previous Board of Education meetings. All of his teachers are under the impression that special education students are coming back 4 days a week. I've talked to one of the principals in the high school. He's also under the impression that special ed students are 4 days a week. So there is a lot of miscommunication with this. So that's, you're saying call the school and do all that. We've done that. We had it. My son's teacher yesterday. She gave a list of information that she got from the building principal, and it was completely contradicting what you've been saying during the board meeting. So there is a load of misinformation going around regarding, I know I can't speak for the entire high school, but for the special education program in the high school, there is a lot of conflicting information going around at this point. When you just said 2 days a week, that's the first time I've heard of 2 days a week. We have been under the impression this entire time that special education was Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, everyone being remote on Wednesday. The first time you mentioned that, I actually called to ask about that, and you said it was so that the students could receive the services that were in their IEP. So the information has changed since August. So that's fair because there are again just conflicting information going around.
Let me respond. I'm not sure what conflicting information you may be receiving, but I have been consistent in what I've said. And at this point, as superintendent, and I hate to take this position, but as superintendent, what I say is supposed to happen in the district, it will happen. And if the teachers are saying something that contradict what I'm saying, then they need to get clarification from me. So at this point, if I've been saying the same thing since August, every meeting in reference to what we're going to be doing in special education, that's what's going to happen. Now, I can't speak for whatever the teachers are saying to you, but I think what needs to happen, including the teachers, they need to go back and read the plan that is in place, because what I'm finding out, a lot of people haven't read the plan. Since I wrote the plan in conjunction with our committees in the beginning of the school year. So I absolutely know the plan, and I submitted the plan to the state. So I know what's in there and I know what needs to be done. So at this point, we are going to start off, as I stated, 2 days for everyone in the school district. The only change is at the high school, we were only talking about 1 day. Then we changed it for 2 days for everyone in the district, including the high school. And it is Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. And it also states that special education students, particularly those young people who are self-contained, can and will be permitted to attend school more than those 2 days, possibly 3 or 4, if space is available. If space is not available, because all special education students will not be attending school 4 days a week. Now, here's the only difference. The difference now is if we get the numbers in on Friday, let's say on Monday, Tuesday, we get the numbers, and those numbers indicate that students can come to school, special education students can come to school 4 days a week, then it will happen. But if the numbers indicate that all special education students cannot come to school 4 days a week, then it won't happen. It's based on availability. So again, I'm speaking to what I know. I can't control what everybody is saying out there because those individuals could be saying whatever. But at this point, I'm saying to you, the information I'm providing is what the district will be doing, and I expect the principals and the teachers to do so accordingly.
That's fine, and I appreciate that, but I've listened to every single meeting, and you've said 4 days before. I wish someone else on the board would I know I wasn't just hearing that because other parents have heard it. So it's what's been said. And I think it's not, I'm doing what I need to do. I'm calling the school and I'm speaking to principals, I'm speaking to teachers. So I think maybe it's a communication that needs to happen between the superintendent and the point, because it's misinformation being spread. Thank you for your time.
What principal did you talk to, caller?
Dr. Potita, the call hung up.
Oh, okay.
Dr. Potita, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
So as far as special ed, was it certain programs? Like, for example, like if I had an ICR student, in-class resource student, I was under the impression that they go twice a week. But if my child was autistic and needed special programs, they were 4 days a week. I was under the impression it was based on programs, not necessarily all special needs students.
Yes, it was the 4 days a week was primarily for those children who were self-contained, Mr. Blake. If you were self-contained, right, the children of the greatest need. And I know what I've been saying, but here's what's going to happen, ladies and gentlemen, because I knew that once we get closer to opening, these questions would come up. And with all due respect, I'm not going to debate every issue with everybody, because here's where we are. The plan is in place. We're going to move forward. If you want to send your child to school, I'm going to take all the necessary steps to make sure we have a safe environment for those children who want to come. If you're still in doubt and you still not sure whether you want to send your child to school, then I think that's a decision you need to make until whatever questions you have are answered. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm doing what I've been asked to do, and that is to move forward to the opening of school. Let me say this before I close, Mr. Blake. The problem that we have is the parents who are pretty much in support of full remote or have some questions about special ed are the ones who call in, and I know you can pretty much remember those calls. I have hundreds of parents who want their children in school in this district in the hybrid model, but they never call in. But once we make a decision, then I get those calls privately in my office wanting to know, why are we closing schools? Because my children need to be in school. And I can almost guarantee, without even seeing the numbers, whatever the numbers are, 50% of those numbers will be for parents who want their children back in school. And the other half, of course, will be full remote. So I just want you to know, because you don't hear it very often in our calls, but there are hundreds of children out there whose parents want their children back in school. That's why we're at the point where you need to make a choice. Either you're going to send them to school or you're going to keep them home. And that's pretty much where we are. I'm not in the position at this point to debate every issue, because even after our debate and at the end of the day, at the end of the night tonight, we're still where we started. And that is, are you going to send your child to school in the hybrid model, or whether or not you're going to leave your child home for full remote? Because that's where we are at this point. Thank you.
Dr. Poteet, can we kick the back to school plan back up on the top of the website, so parents who aren't up to date on it can look at it? Because I just tried jumping on the website and I was having a hard time finding it.
Mr. Shaw, the plan is in 3 different places on our website. It's under news and announcements. If you go to news and announcements, it's right above it. It never goes below. Reopening school plan is right there. And when you go to our website, the first thing that jumps out to you is reopening a school plan. You can click on that, or you can go to right above news and announcements. And that plan has been there since August. I'm not sure why people aren't reading it, but it's been there. And whenever I make a change or modification, I inform everyone that I've made a change. But I think what needs to happen is, let's revisit the plan, read the plan, and then let's address some of those questions. And at this point, Mr. Shaw, no one has ever said to me that they had difficulty finding it or whatever. So I'm not sure how many more places I can place the plan.
No, I'm just asking for just to put it right back up front, so that way we don't
Okay.
read the plan.
Right. Well, I was on the plan today, several times, reviewing some of the things in preparation for this evening. And at this point, no one has ever said to me they couldn't find it or anything of that sort. So if that's the case, I'll take a look at it tomorrow, Mr. Shaw, but I'm not sure how many more places I can place it.
Dr. Petit, we do have a caller on the line. Good evening, caller. You've joined the public comment section of the board meeting. If you would state your name and give us your address, then you can make your comment. And you might want to turn down your device.
Hi, my name is LaShawn McMichael. I live on Colts Neck Drive in Sickville.
Can you spell your name, please?
Spell it?
Yes.
It's LASHAWN. My last name is McMichael.
Michael. Gotcha, Miss Michael.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. You want to make your comment to the board?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, I would. And my comment is to Dr. Petit. Dr. Petit, I appreciate that, and I understand that these decisions that you are making are very difficult. But when I hear you speak about the children that have special needs, now my daughter is in special education. I'm keeping her at home, and I'm fine with that. But when I hear you talk about, originally it was 4 days, now it's 2 days, you sound very curt. It sounds as if, you are, like by law, you're supposed to meet children's needs. And it just breaks my heart to hear you sound so curt with respect to the children that have special needs. I don't think you are being sensitive at all to the parents that have to help these children day in and day out. I have no issue with helping my daughter. My daughter's in tutoring, but I'm just thinking about all the parents that had a difficult time day in meeting their children's needs, and to hear you speak, speak as if it's something that, what, you guys have to deal with it. I'm doing the best that I can, and just take it as you're leaving it. And it's so disconcerting to hear your responses to these parents that I can only imagine are in so much pain and are so frustrated because all they want is for their children to be safe, and they also want their children to have a fair shot at their education, just like the other children that are in general education.
Thank you, caller.
Thank you, caller. Yeah, don't hang up.
Oh, no, I'm not.
All right, Miss McMichael, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, did you have more to add?
No, I don't have more to add. I just wish that he would speak to that. I understand that I'm not really asking a specific question, but I really hope that he can receive it and I don't expect you to be able to say anything that I'm really going to be able to accept or that's going to change my mind about your response. But I just want you to really understand how you sound to parents with children that have special needs. I don't think you're a bad guy. I'm not saying you're this horrible monster. You don't care about the kids, but I want you to really understand, and I want you to receive that the way that you are approaching this and the way that you sound, it's just so disheartening, sir.
Point well taken, ma'am. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, caller. Good evening, caller. You've joined the public comment section of the board meeting. If you would give me your name and address, and then you can make your comment.
My name is Cindy Skarnick. I live at 50 Brearley Drive in Zuckerville, New Jersey.
All right, Ms. Gurnick, if you'd like to make your comment to the board.
I have a couple of questions. Dr. Poteet, earlier in the meeting, you mentioned that there was a issue getting substitute teachers from the service that we currently use. And I was just wondering if other teachers have to cover a teacher who is out, does that mean that that class that needs a substitute teacher is going to get a new teacher every 35 to 40 minutes? Because the teacher obviously needs to cover their class too. So I was just trying to figure out how that would work. And I have three questions. I don't know, do you want me to ask three questions? Do you want me to answer one or?
No, let me try to answer them one at a time. It depends on how long the teacher is going to be out. If you recall on our board minutes, we approved teachers who are taking 6 periods as opposed to their 5 or 7 periods as opposed to the 6, where we have teachers who are accepting that class load, so they would have those students on a consistent basis so they don't be running into having substitutes. And that's where we are now. Because we have so many substitutes available, the teachers that are in the buildings now, if there are 5 classes, we have 5 teachers who have accepted to teach 5 classes, teach those classes, so there's some consistency with the students. So that's how we're handling it at this point.
Okay, so my child is in early elementary, he's in school 3, so I guess I'm not understanding what you mean with like the 5 classes, because he has the one teacher. So the way I perceived what you said earlier was that so let's say Mrs. Smith was out sick, Miss Jones would go in on her prep time, Miss, Jackson would go in on her prep time, and, Miss Zimmerman would go in on her prep time. So it seemed like it gave the impression that those kids would have multiple teachers throughout the day for the little ones.
Dr. Poteet, you're muted.
We have always tried to cover, if teachers only out for one day, then yes, we would ask those teachers in the building to cover those classes for that one day. If the teacher is going to be out for a long period of time, then we will be either asking or trying to find someone to be there in a long-term sub situation. I can only deal with the experiences that we have had in the past. At this point, until we get in school and find ourselves in a situation where we are unable to fill a sub position. But at this point, we will be doing it the way we always have, either trying to find a long-term sub or have the existing staff to take those classes on a period by period basis based on their availability.
Okay. My other issue is I looked at the maintenance report that you have for the HVAC system, and I was just wanted to know if there was a change in plan to make somebody else responsible for the maintenance. Because when you read over the report, there's items such as all air filters need replacement, all air filters are dirty, rotted pneumatic tubing, dirty heating coils, dirty fan blowers, and dirty equipment. It just gives the impression from my standpoint that this maintenance was not being done the way that it should be. If every single school has rotted tubing and things disconnected, it just seems like maintenance completely fell by the wayside. I understand that team brought in a whole new issues with new standards, but the way that these reports read makes it seem like maintenance was not followed through the way it should be. And my other, I want to call back.
Caller, why don't you let me answer that question first? Can I answer that question?
Excuse me. Caller, excuse me. Can you let Dr. Potteet respond to that question? And then you can get.
That's why I'm gonna let questions.
Okay.
Yes, but now the information that you are reading, those pneumatic systems are done by our in-house maintenance department, or we have a separate contractor who
Right.
comes in and takes care of that work, and that's part of our pre-maintenance program. That information that you had that was placed in that report was not to be completed by CM3. That work is going to be completed in-house and or by a separate contractor, and we are in the process of doing that work as we speak. So I am very comfortable in knowing that that work is being done and will be completed, but that is not work that, of course, is being done by CM3, and we will continue to make those reports available to the public, because at this point I'm very certain that those things are going to be done, and they are being done as we speak.
Okay, thank you. And for the caller that called in the first time, saying that the New Jersey state opened up vaccine qualified people for, I believe, 18 to 65 with a comorbidity. By delaying school opening until March 1st instead of February 1st, you would give teachers who have comorbidities, whether it be diabetes, hypertension, any respiratory issues, whatever, you would give them the option, if they wanted the vaccine, to get the vaccine and possibly make them feel safer returning into a situation where they lose that social distancing of being able to teach from the comfort of their own home with just their own immediate family in their bubble. So I just wanted to point that out. And I admit that I have not read your opening plan, but I do attend these meetings, and I don't have a special ed student anymore, but I was under the impression that the special ed students were to go 4 days a week. So I think that there was something communicated that made multiple parents had that assumption that their special ed needs students that was in a self-contained classroom would go 4 days a week. So
excuse me, caller. This is Ms. Pitts, Dr. Potteet. This particular caller's response, perhaps it would be helpful if she would call you, because she's well over the 4 minutes, and we do have other people in line waiting to call.
And Mrs. Pitts, I think the parents who are calling about the 4 days a week, it is in the plan, but I think it's being interpreted differently. So there's no doubt that is in the plan. I know it's in the plan, but I think it's being interpreted incorrectly. But the bottom line is those services will be provided for those students on whatever number of days there are, based on availability and those individuals of the greatest need. But as far as the facilities and things of that sort, the work will be done, and I would not put anyone in a building that is not safe for my own children. The issue about holding school off until March so that all the teachers can get vaccinated, I'm aware of that report that came out the day or that announcement. That is no guarantee that everybody, because when you talk about teachers, we're talking about all of the teachers in the state, all the administrators, everyone who work in education. I would love to believe that it can be done in that short period of time, but we also have available to us the fact that the rollover and the timeline of getting vaccinated for COVID has not panned out the way anyone has planned it thus far. So it remains to be seen. I'm hoping they're able to maintain that type of schedule, but at this point, we'll just have to see. But I will continue, as I stated earlier, to do what I have to do to get the schools ready for February the 1st.
All right. This is a new caller. We have another caller. Good evening. You've joined the public comment section of the board meeting. If you would state your name and address, and then you can make your comment to the board.
My name is Sharon McTaggart. My address is 17 Orlando Drive, Sicklerville, New Jersey. I live in Wyndham Hill. I just addressing Dr. Poteet, the board. I want to thank you for all your hard work that you've done so far and making our children safe to go back to school. I think it's very important that parents, teachers, we are advocates for our children. They want normalcy in their lives. The past year has been so hard. I do have a question regarding, so our children are going to be going back to school with their own PPE. So if you could give me a description, I know we don't know how many children are going back to school, but if you can give me a description of what a classroom would look like with the minimums. Are there going to be protective barriers on the desk? What does that look like?
At this point, caller, depends on the grade level. We will make sure that we maintain social distancing. So all of the seats will be 6 feet apart, in front and to the side, vertical, horizontal. So maintaining social distancing is the number one criteria, along with face coverings. Some individuals, particularly special education students, if they need a shield, we have provided, we will provide shields for those students. And at this point, no classroom will have more than half of the students that would normally be in that classroom, depending on the size of the classroom. So at this point, the plan is designed so that we can have small classrooms, and small classrooms will allow us to spread those students out to meet the minimum of 6 feet social distancing and the mask wearing and all of the hand sanitizing, the washing of the hands, pretty much what we would have in place in all of the classrooms.
Thank you. Second question. So my children will be going back to, I have 2 children, one in school 6 and one in the middle school. As far as physical education is concerned, will PE be included in those 2 days that they go back to school?
Yes, the students will be following their regular schedule. And if they have physical education scheduled on one of those 2 days, they will have physical education. Our goal at this point is to start off, because it is health and physical education, start off with the health classes. And we will also be requiring very low level of physical education at the appropriate time, which means because they cannot use the locker rooms and, of course, showers, those individuals will be doing other things that not will require them to, do sweating profusely and things of that sort. They will not have to change their clothes. They can wear their sneakers on the day they have gym. So we have a plan in place, and there are a lot of things we can do to compensate for health and physical education. But initially, we will start out with our health classes.
Thank you. That's all the questions I have. Thank you for all you're doing.
Thank you.
Excuse me, Dr. Poteet, I wanted to ask a question about the health classes. I know when my daughter was in high school, for example, she had health for, say, one marking period and then phys ed for the others. If those students have already had health, are they going to go back to it, or are they going to go straight to phys ed like they normally would?
It will depend on the schedule of the student and the school itself. We're not going to be doing anything repetitive. So if they've already had health, then they will go to the physical education class, yes. And at that point, we've always had a lot of low-level activities, table games, and things of that sort that the students would not have to exert themselves. And we will continue to do that. But at this point, I'm not sure, depending on their schedule, what they have and what they have not had. But we will make those adjustments according to their schedule so they don't have to repeat whatever they've already had.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Dr. Potteet, board members, I'm going to ask the public to ask for their patience and understanding. I am not in any way cutting off anyone or interrupting anyone, but I do have to be considerate of board members and what else we have to do this evening. We do have an executive session. And so therefore, I'm saying to the public, my apologies ahead of time. If you still have questions, some of you, would you please either call Dr. Potteet or contact board members. There's 9 of us. Please contact us. But please understand that our board members also have responsibilities. Many of them work, and I'm looking at them, and they. I think it's best that at this time we just pause and put a hold on our public comments. So therefore, board members, I'm asking for a motion. I'm asking for a motion to adjourn public comment.
Clinton moved that we adjourn public comments at this time.
Thomas, second.
Moved by Ms. McClendon, second by Ms. Thomas. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. At this time, I close public comment. And moving on, I am now going to ask for a motion to adjourn into executive session.
Clinton moved that we move into executive session at this time.
Thomas, second.
Moved by Ms. McClendon, Ms. Thomas, second, that we move into executive session.
Pardon me, Madam President. Do we have to give the reasons why we're going in?
To executive session?
Yes.
Yes, we do. Thank you, Ms. Boyle.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying
Mr. Long?
I was trying to get in there, Mrs. Pitt. No problem. In accordance with the requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act, we will be adjourning into an executive session on January 13th, 2021 at 2:25 p.m. The items that we will be adjourning into executive session on are item 4, members of collective negotiations, and item 8, matters involving employment appointment in terms and conditions of employment. That will be a very, very short general presentation by Dr. Potteet. And I would anticipate that we would be in that executive session no more than 20 minutes. Hopefully.
Thank you, Mr. Long. So, board members, at this time, I'm going to call for a voice vote for us to go into executive session. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. We will now come out of our general open session and then go into our executive session. Are there any questions? Does anyone have any? Good. So have a safe trip. I'll see you on the other side of executive session.
Ms. Moore, we have to close out of this and go into another meeting. You're muted. Ms. Moore, you're muted. I can't hear you. I just don't want to leave her.
I heard you. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
I'm just hoping I get into the other one just fine.
We'll be looking for you, and if I'm not there, wait for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Shoot. What happened now?
Okay, I see Mr. Shaw. I see Ms. Peterson. I see Ms. Thomas. I see Ms. Dredden. I see Ms. Martin. I see Ms. Moore.
Okay.
I don't see Ms. McClendon, and I don't see Mr. Blake. See, Ms. McClendon has joined. So we're waiting for Mr. Blake. We're still waiting for Mr. Blake? Is it possible that one of the other board members can call Mr. Blake to see what the problem is?
Yeah, I'm trying. I don't have his phone number.
I got Mr. Blake.
Where is he?
He's on my phone and he can hear everybody.
He can't get
No,
the
no,
video?
he's having tech issues. Mr. Blake, would you say something? Mr. Blake?
Hello, can you hear me? I can hear you guys.
One more time, Mr. Blake.
Can you hear me? I can hear everyone.
Okay, we can hear. Okay, well, so we're all here, board members. I'm asking at this time for a motion to adjourn executive session.
McClendon moved that we adjourn the executive session.
Thomas, second.
Moved by Ms. McClendon, second by Ms. Thomas, that we adjourn our executive session. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Aye.
Board members, we are now back into our regular public meeting. And so who is going to, at this time, give an opening statement with regards to what it is that we're going to talk about, what it is we're going to come together and make a decision on?
Madam President, do you want it in the form of a motion so we can discuss?
Yes, Ms. Peterson.
I move that we discuss plans for reopening deadline removal to a later date so that we can actually discuss the sentiment of the body of those on the board.
Dredden, second.
It's moved by Ms. Peterson, second by Ms. Dredden. Any further comments or questions about the motion that's on the floor? Okay, roll call, please.
Mr. Blake? Ms. Dredden?
Yes.
Ms. Martin?
Yes.
Ms. McClendon?
Yes.
Ms. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Shaw? Ms. Thomas,
Yes.
Ms. Peterson,
Yes.
and Ms. Pitts.
Yes.
Right, motion was carried.
Okay, thank you. Now, board members, we've just had a very lively discussion with regards to the situation at hand, specifically as it relates to the reopening of our schools, and as we heard several callers tonight, with regards to the conditions of the schools and how indeed special education students are going to be handled. And so Dr. Poteet has explained and said to us, as a board, he needs to hear from us with regards to this discussion. And so therefore, I'm going to go alphabetically as we normally do. I'm going to skip over for now Mr. Blake, and I will come to him at the end because we really cannot hear him. So therefore, after Mr. Blake, I'm going to ask Ms. Dredden.
Yes, Madam President.
Ms. Dredden, do you have any comments to make with regards to the next step that we take? Do we continue on what we have told the public, and that is that we will open February 1st? Or will we extend it yet for another month?
I think we need to extend it because right now we are in the hot spot. And right now we have to make a decision for our children, what's important for their lives as well as them with their parents and anyone else that they come in contact with. And we want to keep it down and not for the numbers to continue to go up because we're in the number 5. We're up in the 5. So
Okay.
I think we should not start.
And so how do you, okay, Ms. Martin, any comments?
Yes, Dr. Poteet, I do have a question. And my question is this: as we are currently in the position of moving forward to reopening, bringing back all the teachers and administrators on the 25th, it is a possibility that in the midst of all of this planning that we could get shut down by the state. Is that possible?
The state will not close schools. They made that clear to us this summer after they closed schools back in March. The governor said he will not close schools. The health department said that they will not close schools. It is solely up to the local school board to make that decision. No one else will make that decision for us.
Okay, I would highly recommend that we hold off, only because I am really concerned about the fact that each time that you've given the report that we've had an increase in numbers. And I do really feel that it is important that our children and our administrators and teachers at all costs are in the safest position possible. And I don't really want us bustling forward only to have to shut down in less than a week or a day's time because of this, because the health department has to come in and close this down.
Those are your comments, Ms. Martin?
Yes.
Okay. Ms. McClendon, comments, questions? Can't hear you.
Sorry, I was on mute.
Oh no, not the tech lady. Oh no! Oh no!
The famous line. Can you hear me now? I did say that.
Yes.
So my concern is the numbers. The Camden County did a news report today live, which concerned me is that, they're saying that the numbers have gone up. Our percentage rate has gone up. So that keeps us in the red. And they're even predicting that when they get the next set of numbers, I think it's next week, that will be the numbers coming from the holiday season, that they predict those to be even higher. And we're still having deaths. So as the governing body, which we are the governing body, we're the board, we need to look at not just those of us who have our own kids, whether it's safe for them to go in, but we need to consider every child in the district. And I know that some parents aren't going to agree with us because some parents want their kids back in school for whatever reason, numerous reasons. However, for me personally as a board member, I don't want something to happen to somebody's child or somebody's family and that weight is on my shoulders because I could have made the right decision from a health perspective. Not from whether or not a child needs to be in school, not be in school, but let's look at what's before us, and that's the health and the safety of our children and our teachers. So for that, I'm also looking at pushing it back, extension, and just paying attention to what's happening around us in our community.
Is that it, Ms. McClendon?
Yes, it is, Madam President.
Thank you. Ms. Moore?
I also am in favor of pushing the time back maybe to March 1st. I do think that it's going to give an opportunity for a lot of people to have the vaccination. And also just to hopefully see the numbers come down so that we'll feel safer for the children, the administration, the teachers, for everybody.
Does that complete your comment, Ms. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Shaw?
Yes, I'm in favor of pushing the date back, because, well, it ultimately provides a level of safety with the numbers rising and predicted to rise even higher, week by week until the holiday numbers come down, and more vaccines are able to be efficiently distributed, for our teachers, our first responders, and everybody in general, because we don't want to put anybody in harm's way. Our teachers, our students, our bus drivers, anybody at all. COVID is not a fun thing to have. My family and I have experienced it firsthand, so it's not fun at all. And I know we've done a bunch of work, and this will also give us the extra time we need to get the rest of those motors in to complete our HVAC to what we need. So I'm on board with taking a step back and pushing our start date back.
Thank you, Mr. Shaw. Ms. Thomas?
Yes, Madam President. I'm in favor of pushing the date back as well. Like I said previously, I did not intend on sending my children back to school as long as the pandemic existed. I am concerned that parents who wanted to send their kids to school don't have that option anymore. But, as a whole, we have to make that decision to close down. Also concerned about the special education students and them getting the services that they need. But I am in favor of closing down for the community as a whole.
Thank you, Ms. Thomas. Ms. Peterson?
I would agree with everyone. And if you have an opportunity, New York Times showed the rates, and we did soar in the month of January. So I'm concerned, and it was with a heavy heart. I think safety should be our concern, and the safety of our community. We all live in this community, and I do not want to see the students, parents, teachers, administrators, and other family members having to deal with COVID-19. If we can make the decision to keep our community safe, I think that's the best if we push it back to March. Along with that, as Mr. Shaw said, we can get some of the repair work. Perhaps we can then look at maybe simple fact sheets to be able to pass out to people that may not read the whole document. But if you give them a fact sheet or 2-page or back and front, they may read that faster, or more marketing of how to stay safe may help us. And I want to see the rates go down in Camden County.
Thank you, Ms. Peterson. Let me just see if we can hear from Mr. Blake.
Can you guys hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I agree with everyone. I feel like we should keep schools closed at least for another month to at least see what the numbers look like after this holiday season. I know some of the parents are not going to be happy, but we can't please everyone. But I feel like safety is first, and I feel like it is in the best interest of our kids that we postpone it for at least a month. So, yes.
Okay, Mr. Blake. Well, it's interesting, board members, the twists and the turns that can happen and can take place in a matter of a board meeting. Because coming into this board meeting, it was not on the agenda. At least I did not know that it would be on our agenda, but we're the board and we can do this. With regards to the opening, let me say this. I do recall, and our minutes will tell us, that Dr. Poteet, in talking about the opening, which way, whether it's a hybrid, that the first thing that he would say is that it depends on where the numbers are and what the public health officials let us know. That he's been saying all along. Now, I'll tell you my personal opinion with regards to this COVID. I have had 4 members in my family, 2 nieces, a nephew, and a cousin who have had to go through this. One was hospitalized. I've had a close friend, her boyfriend died from it. So let me tell you, I know that COVID is no joke. And just as I would not send any of my family or my great nieces into harm's way, no way would I put any of our district's children in harm's way. But I take particular focus on our special ed. And I would like the special ed parents to know and understand that we care about all of our students, that what we're doing as a district, we're doing for the best possible outcomes, the best safety for all of our students. And I want the parents of the special ed kids to understand they will not, I'll repeat, they will not be overlooked. They will be addressed, their needs, because they're in special education, they have special needs, and so we will address it. So therefore, certainly the numbers show it. We've all been either touched by it or we know folks, and it's our job to make sure that we administer and make the decisions that will protect all of our students and our staff going forward. So it appears that the very first caller tonight, who was Mr. Adam Sheridan, I believe, and he headed up I think it was the health, correct me, help me here, was it the health and safety?
It was the education committee for the union.
Okay,
Yeah,
for the
he did.
union. I think it had to do with
Health and safety.
Okay.
That's what I thought. Thank you.
You're
The
right.
health and safety from you. So it appears that he got across to us. So, Dr. Poteet, we've heard you. We understand. But it appears that at this point, since we went around and heard opinions, I'm going to ask for a board member to put what we've just said to a vote, because as a board, that's how we operate. So the board members, because just because I'm the president does not mean that I always frame the motions. Board members, you are board members.
Madam President, do you want me to phrase it?
Yes, Ms. Peterson.
I move that we postpone the opening of schools to March 1st, or if CDC regulations prevent us from March 1st.
You've heard the motion by Ms. Peterson. Is there a second to her motion?
Second.
More second.
Oh, well, okay. All right. So it's been moved and second. And Dr. Potteet, you are clear on the motion?
Yes, I am, Mrs. Pitts, just like in any other situation. The board, you tell me what you want,
Okay.
then I'll move forward.
Okay. So therefore, the motion has been moved and second.
Who
And
made the
so-
second, Madam President? I'm sorry.
There were so many. I'm going to say Ms. Moore.
Okay.
And so therefore, I'm going to ask for a roll call.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Ms. Dredden?
Yes.
Ms. Martin?
Yes.
Ms. McClendon?
Yes.
Ms. Moore?
Ms. Moore?
Oh. Yes.
Ms. Shaw?
Yes.
Ms. Thomas?
Yes.
Ms. Peterson?
Yes.
And Ms. Pitts?
Yes. And motion carries?
Yes, motion carried.
So Dr. Potteet, my immediate question to you is this. No. Hold on, Dr. Potteet. My immediate question is to board members. Can you tell Dr. Potteet or recommend to Dr. Potteet the best way that you feel we can get the decision that we made tonight out to our community, our Winslow School District? I want to hear from board members.
Madam President,
Yes, Ms. Peterson.
I'm going to suggest several ways. Certainly robocall, posting it on the website, but the marquees at every school so they can go around, notify where we send our minutes that it's going to be different, all the notifications of where we send our posting of our board meetings, and notifying our township officials so they are aware, and possibly partner with them to put a sign on the marquees at the municipal building.
Okay, Ms. Peterson, board members, anyone else want to volunteer some suggestions to Dr. Potteet? Although we know Dr. Potteet, of course, has his methods, but he needs to hear from us. This is a decision that we made tonight. Now, Ms. Peterson, I absolutely concur with all your suggestions. One of the things that you said earlier tonight, I totally agree with regards to the reopening plan, just putting out a
Fact sheet.
Said that.
Ms. Martin.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Martin. Putting out a fact sheet, that makes, because it's quick and easy. Because yes, and I don't know, Mr. Shaw, how you missed that reopening plan, because it's all over the place. But for some people, that reopening plan is lengthy and maybe they don't want to read through it. So a fact sheet, I like that idea, Ms. Peterson. So board members.
Ms. Pitts.
Ms. Martin.
Yes, I concur with Ms. Peterson as far as locations and ways to advertise.
And don't forget
Yes,
the
the word out.
district's Facebook page too.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
now, Ms. Martin, I didn't hear what you said, Mr. Shaw.
The district's Facebook page as well.
Oh, certainly. Any other comments, board members, with regards to directives for suggestions for Dr. Potteet?
Madam President, I agree with what Ms. Julie said about, she named every location, whatever how to put it out there for the parents and all. So I agree with what she said.
Madam President, Ms. Thomas, maybe for the upper elementary, middle school, high school, we can have the teachers just relay the message to the children, the students, the older students, so that they can relay that message to their parents also.
Thank you. Any other suggestions?
I don't know if Ms. Peterson mentioned the text messaging feature that we have as well, so that it comes in the form of writing. I don't think we're going to send out letters because of that, but the text feature that comes in writing would be good too as well.
Thank you, Ms. McClendon.
I did forget, I don't know if they use the public network that we used to show some of our board meetings on. I don't know if the township does that still. Maybe I haven't looked at it.
Dr. Poteet, do you have any further questions for the board?
So, I have no questions. I can appreciate the many vehicles you want me to use to put the word out, but I want you to know that one robocall will be more than enough, because that firestorm that I'm anticipating that's going to come after this decision, particularly because I'm used to it, those individuals who really don't call in, don't say anything, want their kids in school, those are the ones that I have to hear that I made a cowardly decision. You don't have any backbone. You let people drive. I mean, those are the kinds of things I have to deal with. However, it's what I deal with. So I will use the vehicles that we have available to us to get the information out. I will have this information out tomorrow as soon as possible. Every school doesn't have a marquee, but really, I don't think that would be necessary, because once it hit tomorrow through a robocall, then an email or text, everybody will get it. Truly, everybody will know where we are. And then I would have to put something in writing to the state to let them know where we are. And like I said, whatever you want, I can support it, and I can frame up whatever needs to be framed up to the state to let them know what our position is. All I ever wanted was some direction.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Poteet. And I would just say this to our board members. As you know, and here again, even though we made a different decision as it relates to reopening, this is not anything, board members, that districts across this state are grappling with. So we are truly all in this together. And I should
Madam
say
President?
this also. Let me just finish, please.
Okay,
Let me
I'm
just
sorry.
say this to Dr. Poteet. I understand that the kinds of things that are going to be said to you, cowardly, et cetera, from the superintendent's perspective. But what I find interesting from a board perspective, the comments that we've gotten is that we're all yes men to you, that we don't have a voice. So you have those two juxtaposed opinions out there in the community. It is our community, but what helps me is that I know that at least everyone here, even though the decisions are hard, are making the decisions that they think is best for our children. Now, if I'm wrong, tell me.
No, Mrs. Pitts, at this point, I have my direction. I know what we need to do, and I'll start making it happen tomorrow.
Okay.
As far as I'm concerned, it's crystal clear, and I'll go ahead and do what I have to do.
Okay.
I'm
Thank
fine.
you, Dr. Poteet.
I'm fine.
Board members, I'm about to adjourn this meeting. Does anyone have any other comments to make? Ms. Moore, I see you
Yes,
shaking
Madam
your head.
President. Yes. McClendon.
McClendon.
So with the task at hand right now, do you think that this should be handled in having an emergency board meeting so to answer or address any questions to the public because of this? Just because of the nature? So that we're all on the same page? Just a question to see if it's even something that we should go back before the public in a board meeting form and answer any questions. Because of course there's going to be a lot of questions probably from our students who get the special services, and how we can find a way to accommodate them some way, somehow. But because of the nature, do you think that we should come back in a board setting and have an open forum meeting so that we can address any questions?
Here's the only thing about that, Ms. McClendon. With regards to calling a special meeting, we're required to give a 48-hour notice. And this is Wednesday. And we're going into a long weekend. Monday, schools anyway.
Right.
Okay. And then we're going into Tuesday and Wednesday, and various kinds of meetings have been set up. I don't know that we can really squeeze in between now and the 27th, which is our next regular board meeting. Now, we could have that meeting, certainly, because this will have been rolled out. And we can use that meeting to answer any questions that folks have. But I just want board members to know the kind of time constraints that we're up against. And if board members don't understand, please let me know.
Just thought I would throw it out there, but I understand from the time constraint and the meeting is already scheduled. Very well.
Okay. Anyone else? So board members, again, certainly we know that because we all do get comments and questions in. So be prepared. Be prepared for your emails to come. And if you know folks who know your telephone numbers, but I would just ask you to just let them know that the decisions that we made as a board has been made with the best interests of our students in mind. Can we do that?
Yes.
We can do that. Okay, board members, unless there's anything else you would like to discuss further, I'm going to ask for a motion to adjourn this meeting.
McClendon moved that we adjourn the meeting.
Thomas, second.
Moved by Ms. McClendon, second by Ms. Thomas, that we adjourn the meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
This meeting is adjourned. Thank you, board members. Have a good weekend.
Have a good night.
And be prepared because we're all in this together. Can we just link arms here? Can we just link arms?
Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Good night.